From the mean streets of 70s thrillers to the sun-drenched fields of Indiana basketball, Gene Hackman, he inhabited characters, didn't just play them. He had that look, you know the one, eyes that could be kind as a summer breeze or hard as a prison yard. A look that could make you believe he was a cop, a coach, a superhero's nemesis, sometimes all in the same year. And that voice, gravelly, world-weary, like it held 1,000 stories, each one a little more captivating than the last. Today, we're diving into the heart of Hollywood, exploring the work of a true giant, revisiting the films that made Gene Hackman a legend. From gritty detectives to flawed heroes, Gene Hackman's career spanned decades, leaving an indelible mark on cinema. Today we honor his legacy and look at some of his outstanding films. Now some folks, they like their heroes shiny, polished, without a scratch. Gene, he wasn't afraid to get a little dirt under his fingernails. Take Crimson Tide, he's Captain Frank Ramsey, a submarine commander, old school, battle-hardened, a man who'd stared down the Cold War and lived to tell the tale. Stuck in a tin can, miles beneath the waves, tensions rise, orders get muddled, and Ramsey, he's got to make a choice, follow his gut or stick to the book. You can feel the weight of the world on his shoulders, the burden of command. Denzel Washington, young, idealistic, he's a fine counterpoint to Hackman's gruff wisdom. They lock horns, these two, a battle of wills that crackles with intensity. But Gene, he never lets you forget. There's a human heart beating beneath that uniform. Fear, doubt, the terrible responsibility of sending young men into the abyss. It's all there, in his eyes. Crimson Tide, it's a masterclass in tension, a reminder that the toughest battles are often fought within the confines of our own minds. And Hackman, he anchors this ship with the quiet strength of a man who knows the true cost of war. It's a performance that reminds us why Hackman was one of the greats. He could make you forget you were watching a movie. He pulled you in, made you believe, made you feel like you were right there with him, in the belly of that submarine, the fate of the world hanging in the balance. Now that's what I call acting. Gene, he had a way of tapping into the unease of our times. Take Enemy of the State, he plays Brill, a former government operative living off the grid, haunted by secrets. He's a ghost, a whisper in the shadows, but he's seen too much, knows how easily freedom can be eroded. Will Smith, he's the unsuspecting lawyer who stumbles into a web of surveillance and deceit, and Hackman's Brill, he's the only one who can guide him through the labyrinth. It's a cat-and-mouse thriller for the digital age, and Hackman, he brings a chilling authenticity to the role. He understands the paranoia, the fear of being watched, of having your every move tracked and analyzed. He makes you question every phone call, every email, every glance over your shoulder. And in a world where privacy seems more and more like a distant memory, Hackman's performance feels eerily prescient. Enemy of the State is a reminder that freedom is a fragile thing, easily lost, hard won. And Gene Hackman, he reminds us that even in the darkest corners, there are those who fight for truth, who stand up for what's right, even when it means sacrificing everything. Now Clint Eastwood, he's got a knack for crafting westerns, gritty, morally complex, and in Unforgiven, Hackman, he steps into the role of Little Bill Daggett, a lawman as hard as the Wyoming plains he patrols. He's a man who dispenses justice with a heavy hand, a man who understands the darkness that lurks in the hearts of men. And when Eastwood's William Money rides into town seeking one last score, well, let's just say these two forces of nature are on a collision course. Hackman, he won his second Oscar for this role, and it's easy to see why. He embodies Little Bill with a quiet menace that sends shivers down your spine. He's a man of contradictions, a lawman who can be both brutal and compassionate, a man who understands the weight of the badge he wears. He's not your typical Western villain, he's something far more complex, far more human. Unforgiven is a masterpiece of the genre, a meditation on violence, revenge, and the fading echoes of the Wild West. And Gene, he stands tall as one of its most unforgettable characters, a reminder that even in the face of darkness, redemption is always within reach. Chapter 4. Every now and then, even a man like Gene Hackman, he'd like to remind us that even beneath that gruff exterior, there was a heart of gold. Hoosiers, it's a sports movie, sure, but it's more than that. It's a story about redemption, second chances, the power of belief. Hackman, he plays Coach Norman Dale, a man with a past, haunted by mistakes, given one last shot at glory in a small Indiana town. He's got a ragtag team of kids, more heart than talent, and a town that's skeptical, to say the least. But Coach Dale, he sees something in them, a spark, a fire, and he pushes them, challenges them, teaches them to believe in themselves. Hackman, he plays the role with a quiet dignity, a weary wisdom that shines through in every scene. Hoosiers, it's a reminder that even in the face of adversity, even when the odds are stacked against you, anything is possible if you dare to dream. And Gene, he's the heart and soul of the film, a coach who teaches us that the greatest victories are often won off the court. Chapter 5. War, it's a messy, chaotic affair. And A Bridge Too Far, it captures that chaos, the fog of war, with unflinching realism. Mr. Hackman is a part of an all-star cast, but he stands out as Polish General Stanislaw Sosabowski, a man caught between loyalty and duty, experience and ambition. Operation Market Garden, it was a daring plan, a gamble to end the war, but it went sideways real fast. Hackman, he portrays Sosabowski's frustration, his anger at the flawed strategy, but also his courage, his unwavering commitment to his men. He's a soldier's soldier, a man who understands the true cost of war, the sacrifices made in the name of freedom. A Bridge Too Far, it's a sobering reminder of the human toll of conflict, a testament to the bravery of those who fight and fall in the line of duty. And Gene, he delivers a performance that's both powerful and poignant, a reminder of the complexities of war, the heroes and victims caught in its unforgiving grip. Chapter 6. Now, 1971, that was a good year for Gene. The French Connection, it was a gritty, streetwise thriller, a punch to the gut that redefined the cop movie. Hackman plays Jimmy Popeye Doyle, a New York City detective, relentless, obsessed, a man who walks a thin line between justice and vengeance. He's chasing a drug smuggling ring, and Hackman, he throws himself into the role, body and soul. He's got that intensity, that raw energy that makes you believe he'd stop at nothing to bring down the bad guys. The car chase, beneath the elevated train, it's legendary, a masterclass in suspense. And Hackman, he's right there in the driver's seat, pushing the limits, risking it all. The French Connection, it's a film that grabs you by the throat and doesn't let go. And Gene Hackman's Popeye Doyle, he's one of the most iconic characters in cinematic history, a cop who's as flawed as he is unforgettable. A reminder that sometimes the good guys have to bend the rules to get the job done. Chapter 7, Number 14, Mississippi, Burning, The Fires of Injustice from 1988. Mississippi Burning, it ain't an easy film to watch, but it's an important one. 1964, the South, the Civil Rights Movement, and Gene Hackman, he plays Agent Rupert Anderson, an FBI investigator sent to solve the disappearance of 3 civil rights workers. He's a man caught between two worlds, a Southern boy who understands the ways of the South, but also a lawman sworn to uphold justice. He clashes with the local authorities, with the Klan, with the ingrained racism that permeates every aspect of life in Mississippi. Hackman, he brings a quiet intensity to the role, a sense of moral outrage that simmers beneath the surface. Mississippi Burning, it's a powerful indictment of racism, a reminder of the courage of those who fought for equality in the face of hate and violence. Once again, Gene delivers a performance that's both heartbreaking and inspiring, a testament to the power of one man to make a difference. Chapter 8, Number 13, Behind Enemy Lines, A Soldier's Resolve from 2001. Gene Hackman, he always brought a certain gravitas to military roles, a sense of experience of having seen the horrors of war firsthand. Behind Enemy Lines, it's a modern war film, set during the Bosnian War, and Hackman plays Admiral Leslie McMahon Reigart, a seasoned commander faced with an impossible choice. Owen Wilson, he's the downed pilot, trapped behind enemy lines, and Hackman's Reigart, he's determined to bring him home, even if it means defying orders. He's a man caught between duty and conscience, the rules of engagement, and the instinct to save a life. Hackman, He conveys the weight of command, the burden of responsibility for every soldier under his command. Behind enemy lines, it's a tense, action-packed thriller. But it's also a reminder of the human cost of war, the sacrifices made by those who serve. And Gene Hackman, he anchors the film with his quiet strength, his unwavering commitment to his men, a testament to the courage and resilience of the human spirit. Chapter 9, Number 12, Bonnie and Clyde, The Birth of an Outlaw from 1967. Now, 1967, Bonnie and Clyde, it shook things up, challenged the conventions of the Hollywood gangster film. Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, they were the stars, young, beautiful, and dangerous, but Gene Hackman stole every scene he was in as Buck Barrow, Clyde's older brother. Buck, he's impulsive, unpredictable, a powder keg waiting to explode. Hackman brings a raw energy to the role, a sense of danger that crackles with every line. He's the wild card, the loose cannon, and his fate, well, let's just say it's one of the most memorable moments in the film. Bonnie and Clyde, it was a game changer. A film that blurred the lines between hero and villain, that celebrated the rebellious spirit of a generation. Gene announced his arrival as a major talent, a force to be reckoned with in Hollywood. Chapter 11. Now, disaster movies, they were all the rage in the 70s, and the Poseidon Adventure, it was one of the best. A luxury liner capsized by a tidal wave, a group of survivors struggling to escape the sinking ship. And Gene Hackman, he's Reverend Frank Scott, a man of God who finds his faith tested in the face of unimaginable terror. He's not your typical man of the cloth, this Reverend Scott. He's tough, resourceful, a man of action who's not afraid to challenge authority, even divine authority. Hackman, he brings a raw humanity to the role, a sense of desperation, of fighting for survival against impossible odds. The Poseidon Adventure, it's a thrilling ride, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, and Gene Hackman, he's the unlikely hero, the man who leads the way, reminding us that even in the darkest of times, hope can still be found. Gene Hackman, he wasn't interested in the trappings of fame. He was a craftsman, a dedicated artist who approached every role with integrity and passion. He could disappear into a character, make you forget you were watching a movie star, and make you believe in the truth of the story unfolding before your eyes. He was a United States Marine who served from 1946 to 1951. He was a husband, a father, a man who valued family above all else. He walked away from Hollywood on his own terms, content with the legacy he'd built, a legacy that will continue to inspire and entertain generations to come. So the next time you see one of his films, take a moment to appreciate the artistry of Gene Hackman, a true giant of cinema, a man who left an indelible mark on the art form he loved. Gene Hackman, never confined to a genre, always unforgettable. Rest in peace, legend.